So you want to be the reason that your entire D&D party hates clowns and feed off of everyone's fear. I think we can do that. Let's go ahead and build Pennywise the Clown from Stephen King's It in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. First we have to decide on a race, and Pennywise changes his form pretty often, so we're going to choose Changeling. This gives us the feature Changeling Instincts, so we gain proficiency in 2 skills. We're going to grab Insight and Intimidation, so we can understand everyone's fear while at the same time inflicting that fear. And then of course we chose a Changeling, so you get the feature Shape Changer. So as an action, you can change your appearance and your voice, allowing you to adjust your height, weight, and overall appearance, but it won't change any of your game statistics. And you get to stay in that form pretty much as long as you want, as long as you don't get taken out. Then when it comes to a background, you are the Deadlights. You aren't exactly from around here, so I feel like the background Wild Spacer fits pretty well. This gives us skill proficiencies in athletics and survival, and automatically grants us the feat Tough, giving us an extra 2 hit points per level of our overall build. And there happens to be a feature as part of this background called Close Encounter, showing that you may have had a harrowing encounter with Wild Space's many terrors. You get to choose one of 10 creatures. You can choose things like a cosmic horror or a beholder, but there's even a space clown on the list, so I feel like it's especially fitting. Then when it comes to some starting stats, we're going to be pretty widespread, putting 13 points into dexterity and constitution. Go a little further, bumping our wisdom up to 14, and even further beyond that, bring our charisma to 15, because you need to be able to convince people of a lot of stuff and scare the crap out of them. That leaves you with 1 random point left over, so I guess you can just throw it into intelligence, bringing it to 9. You also get 3 additional points to distribute thanks to your race, so boost up your dexterity, constitution, and charisma, bringing them to 14, 14, and 16. Then when it comes to a starting class, I was pretty torn, so we're definitely going to be doing a multi-class throughout this build, but considering we need to focus on inflicting fear, I think one of the best starting classes is actually a bard. This gives us proficiency with light armor, a handful of weapons, saving throws in dexterity and charisma, up to 3 musical instruments of your choice, which you can use to play some creepy clown music, and then you get to choose 3 skills. And to help lure people down to the sewers, I would grab Persuasion, Deception, and top it off with Performance, because there's no way you could get away with being a clown and not being able to perform. At first level of bard, you get plenty of spell casting, but we'll save all of the spell casting for the end of this build, and you get some bardic inspiration. So if you happen to be in a big party of horror icons, you can help inspire them by adding a d6 to an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. Then at second level of bard, you get jack of all trades, so any skill that you aren't proficient in, you now get to add half your proficiency bonus to it. Also at this level, you get Song of Rest, so if your party takes a short rest and needs to recover some health, they can add an additional d6 to the health regained. Then at third level of bard, you get Expertise, allowing you to double your proficiency bonus in 2 skills you happen to be proficient in. So I would definitely amp up that intimidation to scare the crap out of people, and I was tempted to take Persuasion for the other skill to help deal with your victims and convincing them of whatever you'd like, but that's more deception, so that's what we're going to grab Expertise in. Additionally, at this level of bard, you get a Bard College, and this is where we get to start amping up the fear, because we're going to choose the College of Whispers. Right when you take this subclass, you get Psychic Blades, so whenever you happen to make a weapon attack, it actually damages the creature's mind, allowing you to expend one of your bardic inspiration die to deal an additional 2d6 psychic damage to the target. And this damage increases to 3d6 at 5th level, 5d6 at 10th level, and 8d6 if you get to 15th level in Bard. Additionally, when you choose this subclass, another feature that's especially fitting for Pennywise is Words of Terror. So if you speak to a humanoid alone for at least 1 minute, you can attempt to seed paranoia and fear into its mind. At the end of the conversation, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or be frightened of you or another creature of your choice. Then at 4th level of Bard, you get an ability score improvement, so of course we're going to boost up our charisma. Then at 5th level of Bard, our bardic inspiration die upgrade from a d6 to a d8, and you get Font of Inspiration. So now you get to recharge that bardic inspiration on a short rest instead of a long rest. Then at 6th level of Bard, you get Counter Charm, so as an action, you can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn, giving you and any friendly creatures of yours within 30 feet of you advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. But you're not going to use that very often because you like frightening people. Additionally, at 6th level of College of Whispers, you get Mantle of Whispers, and this felt very, very fitting for Pennywise, especially with showing certain people that you want to scare the crap out of their long-lost loved ones. And that's Mantle of Whispers. So when a humanoid passes away within 30 feet of you, you can magically capture its shadow using your reaction. You can use this shadow as an action, and when you do so, the shadow vanishes, magically transforming into a disguise that appears on you. You now look like that person, but healthy and alive. Not only that, when you are in that disguise, you gain access to all information that humanoid would have freely shared with a casual acquaintance. So you might not be able to get any deep dark secrets, but it's still enough to torment your victims that much further. Then at 7th level of Bard, you get access to higher level spell slots, and then at 8th level of Bard, you get another ability score improvement. So we're going to go ahead and max out that Charisma. Then at 9th level of Bard, your Song of Rest upgrades from a D6 to a D8, and then at 10th level of Bard, your Bardic Inspiration upgrades from a D8 to a D10. Additionally, you get access to Expertise again. So we get to choose 2 more skills, and since we already have Intimidation and Deception, we're going to want to grab Insight so you better understand your victim's fears, which is also why we put a few points into Wisdom just to help that out even more. And then let's just follow it up with Persuasion to help guide a few extra people down to the sewers. The last feature you get at 10th level is Magical Secrets. This allows you to choose 2 spells from any class's spell list. They get to count as Bard spells, meaning you can use your Charisma modifier to cast them in the first place, and it just really expands the possibilities. Then at 11th level of Bard, you get even stronger spellcasting, and then at 12th level of Bard, you get another ability score improvement. So we're just going to throw 2 points into Constitution because you're pretty hardy, you can live for an unreasonably long time. Then once you hit 13th level of Bard, your Song of Rest upgrades to D10s, and at 14th level of Bard, you get to choose 2 more spells for your Magical Secrets, while also getting another feature from your College of Whispers, granting you the feature Shadow Lore. So now you have the ability to weave dark magic into your words and tap into a creature's deepest fears. I was tempted to do a multi-class even before this, but the fact that it even mentions tapping into the deepest fears of a creature just feels way too spot on to go with anything else, because as an action, you can now magically whisper a phrase that only one creature of your choice within 30 feet of you can hear. That target has to make a Wisdom saving throw, and if it fails, it is charmed by you for the next 8 hours, while also granting you knowledge of its deepest, darkest secret. And because you know this secret, the creature obeys your commands for fear that you will reveal it. Technically, it won't risk its life or fight for you, but it might do some really crazy stuff depending on how creative you might want to get with this feature. And I think of this as Pennywise corrupting the minds of certain other people in the town to help deal with the few people actually trying to fight against him. And now it's time to finally do a multi-class. We could have kept going in Bard. It would get us some stronger spellcasting, but a lot of the higher level spells don't actually fit with the Pennywise theme. So instead, we're going to multi-class into Sorcerer. This allows us to choose a Sorcerer's Origin, otherwise known as a subclass, right when we take this multi-class. And because of our focus on fear and mental attacks, while also realizing that Pennywise is actually this great cosmic being thing that frankly I don't entirely understand, because it gets a little convoluted and crazy with crazy cosmic entities, but it just so happens to fit even more with the Sorcerer's Origin, Aberrant Mind, because this is what happens when an alien influence wraps its tendrils around your mind, granting you psionic powers. This gives us a handful of extra spells to choose from, and you get telepathic speech, so you can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of someone else, allowing you to directly communicate, and you can use this in plenty of evil and terrible ways. Then at 2nd level of Sorcerer, you get Font of Magic, granting you access to some sorcery points which you can use to exchange for more spell slots, or you can exchange spell slots for more sorcery points. And if you don't want to use those sorcery points for more spell slots, you can always use them at 3rd level for meta magic, allowing you to spend sorcery points to alter your spells in very interesting ways, which we'll also cover at the end of this build along with those spells. Then at 4th level of Sorcerer, you get another ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and put 2 more points into our Constitution, really helping our health. Then you don't get a whole lot from 5th level of Sorcerer, but at 6th level of Sorcerer and your last level overall, you get another feature from your Aberrant Mind, and that's Psionic Sorcery. So you can cast any 1st level spell or higher from your psionic spells feature, which are the handful of spells that you get from being an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. You can cast it by using a spell slot like normal, or directly spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. And if you use sorcery points for it, it actually requires no verbal, somatic, or material components, unless they happen to be consumed by the spell. And then the very last feature you get doesn't actually fit very well for Pennywise, because this is actually his one real weakness. But since you hit 20th level, I guess it only makes sense because you get the feature Psychic Defenses, giving you resistance to psychic damage, while also giving you advantage on all saving throws against being charmed or frightened. I was very tempted to flip the amount of levels in each one of these classes, giving up that 14th level in Bard feature, but it would have given us Revelation in Flesh, giving you some weird creepy forms you can turn into as an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. But I figured being a changeling already covers a good chunk of that, and we can use some spells to cover the rest. But before we cover those spells, we gotta cover that meta magic. You can learn 2 different types of meta magic, and we're just gonna grab 2 of the best ones. And that's going to be Quicken Spell, allowing us to cast a spell that would take an action and use it as a bonus action. And then we're also going to grab Twin Spell. So any spell that would target 1 creature can now target 2. Then when it comes to those spells, let's start with the cantrips. You are the Deadlights, so we got to grab the Dancing Lights cantrip, grab some other good bard ones like Minor Illusion, and of course Vicious Mockery. And then just because there's going to be times that you really want to creep somebody out with a secret message, grab the cantrip Message, follow it up with some good old clown stuff with Hideous Laughter, disguise yourself with Disguise Self, and grab Silvery Barbs just because it's Silvery Barbs. Inflict some additional fears with things like Phantasmal Force, know someone's fears even more with Detect Thoughts, hypnotize people with the Deadlights using Hypnotic Pattern. Of course, you can't forget the spell Fear, and you need to be able to shapeshift into all sorts of different creatures, so you're definitely going to want to grab the spell Polymorph. You're also going to want to grab a few things to help persuade people around you, like Suggestion or Mass Suggestion, and you want to basically make yourself unkillable with the spell Regenerate. There's plenty of other spells worth grabbing that would very much fit with Pennywise, but I'm going to save those for the character sheet, which I have up on Patreon. This build was actually voted for on Patreon, and my patrons chose the Scary Clown, so you can thank them for that. So a special shout out to those patrons, especially CGC 2014, Aft Storm, Godzilla Khan, Mugen, Elisa Martinez, Anthony McDonald, Panda Milkshake, Alistar Nix, Ted Z, Andrew Nobles, Carcat Kitsune, Zed13, Viral Naravar, Daniel Galvin Kesta, The Dino 21, Chris Smoke, and Benjamin. Then there's the patrons I actually play D&D with: Shane Gilroy, Conman ZX, Cybersiety, Talon Starkey, Demiurge, Michael, Eric Wade, Salvador, Devin Happy, and Kilo Kilo. Then going above and beyond anything I ever expected is my god tier level patron GameSteak. So an ultra special thank you to him. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be here hoping to roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session, especially if you want to scare the crap out of everybody and play as that clown that haunts so many people's nightmares, and be Pennywise from Stephen King's It in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.